What is going on, dudes? Dying Food here today, bringing another video to you guys. And today I wanted to talk about something that I've been seeing getting thrown around a lot in YouTube videos within the COD community, and it's kind of bothering me because I don't necessarily agree that it's true. So I figured it was worth making a video about and get your guys' opinions and see if we could come to an agreement. So if you watch a lot of COD on YouTube, you'll know that a lot of the content creators on here have been pretty dissatisfied with the game for one reason or another. But one thing I always see them throwing around is that World War II has no content. And the common theme is that people are bored because there's no content. So I thought this was an interesting topic because I've seen a lot of people complain about a lot of past Call of Duty games for tons of reasons. There's always somebody who's shit talking about something. But I've never seen the complaint that there's no content in the Call of Duty game. So I find this to be a little bit out of the ordinary as a complaint, and now that the game has been out for about 5 months, I think it's worth looking into this to see if there's any truth or validation to it. So I thought what we would do today is go through a couple of core components of World War II, break them down, analyze them, try to remain as objective as possible, and then once we're done doing that, we could speculate a little bit about why some people might be feeling this way. So just a quick disclaimer before we get into it, as many people probably expect, we're only going to be talking about multiplayer, no zombies, no campaign. Just wanted to put that out there, and without further ado, let's get into this. So I want to talk about 5 specific components that are specific to World War II: maps, kill streaks, weapons, game modes, and headquarters. Well, really, headquarters is the only one that's specific to World War II, but you know what I mean. So let's talk about maps first. Maps were a very controversial part of this game. At the launch of the game, we only had 9 multiplayer maps, which caused a lot of uproar in our community, honestly. It was really looked down on. But that statement is a little bit misleading because we did have 3 war mode maps, so a lot of people forget to put that in there. They just like to cry out that we only had 9. It's kind of true because war mode is completely separate from the other playlists that you play in other maps because war mode has specifically designed maps for that mode. So if we're going to try to be correct and accurate, we really did have 12 maps at launch because we had 9 multiplayer maps and 3 war mode maps. Now, even if you're counting the war mode maps, 12 maps is still on the lower end that we've seen in Call of Duty. I think the only other time that we've seen 12 maps at multiplayer launch was Black Ops 1. Not positive about that. Someone correct me down in the comments if you know better, but for the purposes of this video, it's very low. So this is one area that I'll probably have to agree with the masses on. There are very few maps, there's really no way around it, and people are rightfully angry about it. I really don't blame them. So for that category, I would definitely agree. Yes, we are lacking content. Now, since launch, we've had 2 opportunities to play new maps. The first is with the Resistance DLC, which provided 3 multiplayer maps and a war mode map. Of course, these were add-ons, so you had to pay for it, so not everybody will ever get the chance to play these maps. But if you did buy the Season Pass like I did, that would bring your total map count up to 16, including the war mode map. And then recently, as everyone knows, we all got Shipment 1944 for free, which I thought was really, really cool, so that brings it to a total of 17 maps. But for the purposes of this video, since we're talking about a AAA $60 video game, I think we should probably round everything down to the lowest common denominator, so we'll just go for vanilla World War II. If you didn't pay for any maps at all, you have 10 multiplayer maps and 3 war mode maps, for a total of 13 maps. Again, still historically low. A lot of other Call of Duty games had way more maps on launch. Let's move on to kill streaks. So as of right now in World War II, we have 15 total kill streaks, which is pretty standard for COD, really. Now, whether or not those kill streaks are any good or fun, we'll leave for another part of the video. But really, from an objective point of view, 15 kill streaks, pretty standard. We can move on. As far as weapons go, I think there were about 32 weapons in the game on launch between primaries and secondaries, and to be honest, that's completely acceptable. We have definitely seen COD games in the past that have more weapons on launch, but it's not like this game had a shortage of weapons or anything like that. Plus, the way that it usually works is that people find their weapons and only use that, or people find whatever the best weapon is and only use that. So it's not like we were left with nothing to play with. Also, for the 3 most popular categories of weapons, which are rifles, SMGs, and snipers, those all had completely normal amounts that we see in other COD games. I think it was 7 rifles, 6 SMGs, and 4 snipers. Correct me if I'm wrong. But either way, there wasn't some outcry of weapons, and after 5 months, plenty of other weapons have been added into the game. All of them have been pretty easy to get. There's been a challenge to get it directly just about every time, or you can use your armory credits. So we're really not lacking content in the weapons department at all. Onto game modes. We have all the typical game modes that you would expect in a Call of Duty game. We have the 2 modes that were designed specifically for this game, which are War Mode and Gridiron. Gridiron is just the boots on the ground version of Uplink, and then everything else is standard COD. Team Deathmatch, Domination, Search, Kill Confirmed, Free-for-all, Hardpoint, and CTF. We have hardcore variations of the most popular standard game modes, and then we have the party games, which came in at a later date, but they're still here nonetheless now, because this is a 5-month review, so Prop Hunt and Gun Game are now here. And then we have a couple of featured playlists. So right now at the time of this video, the featured playlists are Leprechaun Hunt Mosh Pit, Shipment 1944, and Karantan 24/7. That gives us a total of 19 playlists, which is just more than enough playlists. And when I do play this game, I don't have any trouble finding lobbies, so it's not like there's dead playlists or you're waiting forever to get into a certain type of game mode. Everything is pretty playable. And finally, let's talk about the headquarters. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to split up the headquarters into 2 categories, which will be the content activities and the non-content activities. So what do I mean by this? Well, the first thing I want to talk about is the contracts and challenges, because this is such a great feature in Call of Duty. I think it's one of the best things about World War II. It gives you something to do, it gives you rewards for doing challenges, and we haven't really seen any other daily or weekly activity challenges like this in the past, so it gives you an incentive to get in every day and earn supply drops or earn double XP, well not double XP, 25% XP, and other rewards. Contracts, essentially the same thing, get in there, get a challenge, get it done, and get a reward. It's great. And I think it's especially nice that they've brought back specific weapon challenges now, like the one we have right now for the Sten. That's still going on. Get 15 headshots with an SMG, you get a weapon. I mean, what else can you ask for? So challenges, contracts, and then the third thing is supply drops. These are the 3 things that I think make up the content activities of the headquarters, right? Because if you do the first 2, then you get the third, and when you get the third, you get content. Now, whether or not that content is good or desirable is a whole nother conversation. But from an objective point of view, you go into the headquarters, you could get your challenges or your contracts, which inadvertently gets you supply drops, which gets you content. Sometimes it can be a weapon, sometimes it can be totally useless stuff, but nonetheless, it's there. So those are really probably the most important parts of the headquarters, but there are some other non-content activities that you can do, such as the 1v1 pit, the firing range, or the kill streak range. Honestly, these were fun at first, but I don't think anybody's really gonna spend a whole ton of time doing these. It's really just kind of like a one and done thing. And then obviously the last thing about the headquarters is that it's a social space. I don't know how social it really gets. I don't really often hear people talking in here. Maybe you guys do. But for me, when I load it up, I just kind of go in there, do what I gotta do, and leave, because I don't really think there's a point of hanging out too long. So, what have we put together? As far as content goes, the maps I could agree with. But for all of our other categories, kill streaks, weapons, game modes, and headquarters activities, I really just don't think it's right to say that this game has no content. I mean, it's just not true. There's tons of stuff to do. There are tons of things to go after. It's got a progression system. It's got prestiges. And really, it's just like, no matter how long you play this game, you'll probably never 100% it. So then this begs the question, if there's content, why are people so bored with this game? Just going off opinion here now, I think it's come down to 2 things. Not very good maps and not very good kill streaks. Really, that's just what it comes down to. Think about the maps in this game. If you had to name one of these maps to come back in a later game, let's say Sledgehammer's next COD, they're gonna bring back one of these maps as a bonus map. Which one would you want it to be? I really can't think of one. I can't think of what the best map in the game is. They're all pretty mediocre, to be honest. And when the maps are bad, that ruins the game, because every single game of Call of Duty takes place on a map. Remember in Black Ops 1, when firing range would come up in the rotation and you were like, oh my god, yes, please, 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 give me firing range. Or in Black Ops 2, when you would see raid, or in Black Ops 3, when you saw fringe. There's no equivalent of that in World War II. I don't get excited to play any map. I don't think a lot of people do. If you do, let me know down in the comments, but for me personally, none of them are exciting. If I had to pick one, I would say maybe Point Du Hoc, and that's only because I like to play with shotguns, and I think that's fun, just staying in the little ant farm area there. You run into everyone right up close, so a shotgun is a very good weapon. But you take this element, underwhelming maps, and you combine it with underwhelming kill streaks that cost way too much to obtain, and you've got yourself a boring game, man. So wrapping this up here, the whole point of this video was to talk about whether or not this game has content, because a lot of people say it doesn't. And I think the real answer is that the game has content, but the content is just not fun. And that's what makes the game boring. What do you all think? Do you guys feel as if there's nothing to do in this game, or that there's no content or low content? Or after watching this video, do you realize that the content we have is just typically boring? I'm always interested to know your opinion, so as always, let me know in the comments below, guys. And thank you so much for watching this video and for all your support. I appreciate each and every single one of you, I swear to God, I really do. So thanks for your time. And if you like this video, you know the deal. Please hit the thumbs up button as it really helps the channel out. If you're new around here, subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss a video. And I will see you all in the next one.